Welcome to Prompting and Cueing. This presentation will provide you with strategies that help and support your child but still increase learning. This presentation is brought to you by Amanda Gagnon and Megan McCormick. Prompting is a strategy that is used to assist a child step by step through a task and lead them to task completion or to a direct answer. Prompts include specific physical, verbal, or visual prompts, models, and gestures. Cues, on the other hand, are hints, signals, or suggestions that do not lead to a direct solution and are often given when fading away from the use of prompts. Cues are less formal than prompts. What is the prompting hierarchy? The prompting hierarchy is a structured, systematic method of assisting a child in learning new skills. It outlines the different ways we motivate children to complete tasks or achieve their goals. We work from least to most restrictive prompts when a new skill is emerging and a child is working on mastery. Begin at the top of the hierarchy with the least restrictive type of prompting, which is pause, and then move downward to provide more support as needed. We don't want to provide too much support too soon, especially if a child shows us that they can perform a task with little to no support. Let's talk about the top or the least restrictive part of the prompting hierarchy. The first and least intrusive type of prompt is a pause. Provide your child with sufficient wait time, at least 5 to 10 seconds, to process the request and be motivated to communicate. Next, we have indirect nonverbal prompts. This is when you use body language to show that communication is expected from the child. Examples include facial expressions, hand motions, or eye contact that are suggestive that communication is warranted. After that, we have indirect verbal prompts. This doesn't provide a direct answer, but encourages a child to perform an action. Examples include open-ended questions such as, "What happens next?" The following prompts are in the middle of the prompting hierarchy and are considered to be moderate-level prompts. Next, we have request a response. Use a more direct and specific statement or question, such as, "What do you want?" to elicit a specific response from a child. Next, we have gestural prompts. Use a gesture, such as pointing, reaching, or showing, to let the child know what is expected. Then, we have partial verbal prompts. Provide part of the expected verbal response from the child. This may be a word, phrase, or sentence, such as, "I want the," to elicit a request for an item, or fi, to elicit a word such as fish. The following prompts are at the bottom of the prompting hierarchy and are the most intrusive types of prompts. First, we have direct model. Model a potential response by showing or verbalizing an appropriate response. Pause and wait for the child to imitate the model or respond. For example, when working with a child to request an item, such as a car, you would say, "I want the car." Or you can model taking the car. Then you would expect the child to say or do what you did. The final and most intrusive type of prompt in the prompting hierarchy is physical assistance. Physical assistance can be full hand-over-hand or hand-under-hand assistance, or partial assistance such as a tap or a touch. These types of prompts help a child to accomplish a task in its entirety. The following folders will take you to more specific information about the various types of prompting that were mentioned in the prompting hierarchy. These include physical, verbal, and visual prompts, as well as prompts and tips for reading books. Physical prompts include full physical guidance, light physical assistance, and shadowing. Full physical guidance can include hand-over-hand or complete physical manipulation. This, as explained earlier, is the most intrusive of all prompts. Light physical assistance can include gently touching or guiding a child toward the correct response. Shadowing involves maintaining a very small distance from the child throughout the response. While they will be doing most of the work on their own, you will be there to support them physically should they need assistance.
Hi, today I'm going to show you how to do physical prompting. The first type of physical prompt I'm going to demonstrate for you is full physical guidance. In this type of prompting, you use hand over hand to complete a task. In this task, we're going to cut with scissors. So what we're going to do is you're going to position the scissors in your child's hand and then hold the paper with them as well, hand over hand, open, close, open, close. Great job. Open, close. So you're using hand over hand the whole time. The next type of physical prompt is called light physical assistance. This time you're gently touching or guiding towards the correct response. So you can position the paper for them, position the scissors, and get them started. Okay? Open, close. Good job. Open, close. Good. Open, close. And your hands aren't over them the whole time, but you can help them along the way if they need some help. Okay, and then the last type of physical prompt is just shadowing. That's where you place the scissors to get them ready and the paper, and then they do it on their own. Go ahead, pick up the scissors. Good job. And so you're just hanging back and watching what they're doing and encouraging them. Great job. So these are different types of physical prompts: full physical guidance, light physical assistance, and shadowing.
Now we will talk about verbal prompts. Verbal prompts can include full verbal models, partial verbal models, direct verbal models, or indirect verbal models. A full verbal model includes the presentation of the entire desired response. For example, if you want the child to say purple, you would model the phrase purple. A partial verbal model includes the presentation of the beginning sounds or words of the desired response. For example, if you want the child to say purple, you would say purr, and then they should say purple. A direct verbal model is similar to a full verbal model. This involves directly stating what the child is to do. For example, if you want a child to brush their teeth, you can say, "Now put on the toothpaste." That is a full verbal model of what is expected of the child. An indirect verbal model involves indicating to the child that something is expected, but not telling them exactly what they need to do. For example, you could say, "What's next?"
Another type of prompt is called verbal prompts. The first type of verbal prompt is a full verbal model. So you're going to give the student the desired response. What color is this? Can you say purple?
Purple.
Purple. Good job. Purple. So you're giving them the response, the correct response. The next type of verbal prompt is a partial verbal model. So you're going to say, what color is this? Purple. Say purple. Good. So you give them the first and then they finish the rest. That's a partial verbal model. Then the next is called a direct verbal model, where you're directly saying what the child is to do or what you're asking them to do. Okay, so you say, this color is purple. What color is this?
Purple.
Good. And an indirect verbal model is, what color is this?
Purple.
Purple, right? So you're asking, at first you gave it to them, and then indirect is not giving them the answer, but them finding out what the answer is. Okay, so you have full verbal model, a partial verbal model, a direct verbal model, and an indirect verbal model. I hope these videos have helped.
Visual prompts are prompts that the child can see. These include modeling, gesturing, positioning, and permanent prompts. Modeling involves demonstrating the exact desired response the child is to perform. We already talked about verbal models, but visual models can be just as effective. Gesturing involves pointing or motioning to the desired response. Positioning involves arranging materials so the desired response is easily accessed by the child. For example, if you have 4 pictures and you want the child to select one of them, you can place that option closest to the child. Permanent prompts involve artificial environmental reminders such as visual supports or schedules that are posted in the environment for the child to see.
Okay, families, now I'm going to show you visual prompts. The first visual prompt is called modeling. This is where you show the child the exact way you want the project done or what you're doing to be performed. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our glue stick, we're going to roll up the glue stick, we're going to put the glue on the outside of the square, and then we're going to pick up the paper and put it right on top. Okay, can you do that? Right on the outside. Great job. Now pick up the paper and put it on the square. Great job. So you're modeling and then they do it. Great job. Okay, let's show what's next. The next type of visual prompting is called gesturing. So what you're going to do is just point or motion towards the desired response. Glue on. Glue on. So you're just pointing. You're just pointing or motioning towards the desired response. The next thing you're doing is called positioning. So this is something you may have done before so the students know how to do it. So you're going to have the paper here, the square here, and the glue here. And the students will know, oh, I use the glue and the paper to put it on the square. And then they glue it on the outside and put it on. The last is called a permanent prompt. And a permanent prompt is when you are given them visual models so they know the steps. So first, they have the cut paper. The second thing they're going to do is glue it on. And the third thing they're going to do is glue it on the square. So they have a visual model in front of them of what they're going to do. Step 1, step 2, and step 3. And this is what they're going to do.
There are also various types of prompts that can be used while reading. A completion prompt is when your child finishes your sentence by filling in the blank. A recall prompt is when you have your child recall information from the text, and this can be either a section, page, or a whole story. An open-ended prompt is when you ask open-ended questions about pictures, such as, why do you think that happened? A WH question prompt is when you ask who, what, where, how, why, and when questions about the story. A distancing prompt is when you relate personal experiences to the story. For more information about reading prompts, please refer to the Read With Me Interactive Reading Strategies for Parents and Guardians presentation.
Okay, we're going to read the book Dear Zoo, a Lift the Flap book by Rod Campbell. Okay? I wrote to the zoo to send me a pet. They sent me a elephant. He was too big. I sent him back. Do you think you would want an elephant at your house? No? Why not?
Because it's too big and it would crush your house.
It would crush the house? Okay. That's a pretty good reason. So they sent me a...
Giraffe.
You sure?
Yep.
He was too...
Tall.
So I sent him back. Where do you think the best place would be for a giraffe in our house?
Someplace that doesn't have a roof.
Okay, a place that doesn't have a roof. And why?
Because
Why shouldn't it have a roof?
it's too tall.
Oh, the giraffe's neck is too tall. Okay. So they sent me a...
Lion.
You think so? You're right, that is a lion.
And why does it have this sign?
It says from the zoo. This also says danger. He was too fierce. So I sent him back. So they sent me a...
Camel.
a camel. He was too grumpy. So I sent him back. Why would a camel be grumpy? What does a camel have to be grumpy about?
I don't know.
Do you think a camel is grumpy about how his day is going?
Yeah.
Yeah? What do you think would make a camel grumpy about his day?
Well, that he had to take a picture.
Oh, and he doesn't like taking pictures?
Yeah.
So they sent me a...
Puppy.
You think it's a puppy?
No, I think it's a snake.
That snake, he was too scary. So I sent him back.
Oh no.
I don't know if that snake is super scary. So they sent me a...
Monkey.
A monkey. He was too naughty. What do you think a monkey would do that's naughty?
Well, since monkey is also naughty, this monkey is awesome.
What monkeys are naughty?
Like Monkey Goo, and
Oh, yeah.
he is naughty.
From your show?
Yeah, and this monkey would be naughty too.
Because monkeys are naughty?
Yeah.
Okay. I sent him back. Oh my goodness. Wait, what pet? They sent back all these pets to the zoo.
But not all.
They sent back the elephant.
I think it was
And the
one
monkey.
more pet.
Okay,
to
wait.
try out.
So what kind of animal would you want
A
for a pet?
puppy.
A puppy?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens. So they sent me a
Fly.
frog. We were too early on the question, huh?
Yeah.
He was too jumpy. Do you think a frog would make a good pet?
No, maybe a puppy. And this is a puppy.
So they thought very hard and sent me a...
Puppy.
He was perfect. I kept him. Wow. So you think a puppy would be the best pet from the zoo?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a puppy at the zoo?
But I think we just got them from. We just rescued him.
They rescued him.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. The...
And
Nice job.
so look at all these animals over by this wooden fence.
Yeah, if you had to pick an animal that the zoo had to send you, which animal would you pick?
A puppy.
But that's not pictured here. You have to pick a snake or a camel or a lion or a giraffe or an elephant or a monkey. Which one do you think would be the best pick?
Well, maybe I should train a monkey.
Oh, you think the monkey? The naughty monkey?
Maybe we should train him.
Oh, if you trained him, he wouldn't be so naughty. That's a great idea. Thanks for reading that story with me.
In addition to prompting, there are other types of feedback that supplement the prompting hierarchy. Let's talk about other types of feedback. These include recasting, which is the repetition of an incorrect response, but repeated correctly. For example, if the child says, "He go to the store," the adult can say, "Yes, he went to the store." Although you are not directly correcting what the child said, you are providing a model of the correct adult-like response. Expansion is when you repeat the child's response while adding to the context or complexity. For example, if a child says, "He went to the store," you can expand upon that phrase by saying, "Yes, he went to the toy store in his car." For pausing, you must provide time for the child to process and communicate. It is recommended to wait at least 5 to 10 seconds before recasting or prompting the child again. Positive language can be a beneficial tool for helping your child to make progress. Instead of focusing on what your child can't do, use specific and positive language to help them be more successful. Avoid phrases like "oops," "almost," "wrong," "no," "don't," "not quite," etc. It's more likely that your child will make an appropriate choice once he or she understands the expectation and is given appropriate support. The following are suggestions for using positive language with your child. Replace the word "don't" with the word "do" when providing expectations, for example. What I mean by this is, don't say, "Don't color on the walls." Instead, you can provide positive choices, such as, "Would you like to color on paper or in a notebook?" Change your tone and approach. Get down to the same level as your child, make eye contact, and communicate calmly and clearly. Use first-then language to provide clear direction and expectations. For example, you can tell your child, "First we will go to the store, and then we can play at the playground." Provide sufficient wait time for your child to process information and complete the task to reduce pressure. You'll notice that this has been a recurrent theme throughout this presentation. Wait time is one of the most beneficial strategies that you can use with your child. Now that you know a bit about prompting and providing feedback, it's important to recognize the benefits, drawbacks, and precautions for prompting. Prompting increases the rate of response and leads a child to develop new skills more quickly. Prompts can lower the degree of frustration that a child experiences when completing a difficult task. When the appropriate level of support is provided, a child can learn more efficiently to keep up with academic and social demands. Modeling is typically more effective in facilitating skills than hand-over-hand or physical prompting. Vygotsky said, "What a child can do today with assistance, she'll be able to do by herself tomorrow." There are also some drawbacks to prompting if it is done incorrectly. Children who receive prompts often can become dependent on them to provide responses. When children become prompt dependent, they respond to the presence of the prompt rather than the instruction or natural cues that should direct the response. To promote independent responding, begin with the lowest level of prompting that is necessary, for example, pausing, and prompts should be faded as soon as possible. Once a child is showing that they can master a skill independently, it is not necessary to use prompts for that skill. Please take caution while using prompts. We want children to know that their voice is their own. Full and partial physical prompts may imply to children that adults have the right to manipulate their bodies or force them to perform non-preferred tasks. This is not what we want to happen. Be mindful of how you respond when working with your child, because as little as a glance or a facial expression can impact their actions. If you have any questions whatsoever, ask your child's teachers and therapists about what prompts are appropriate, when, and from whom. Let's wrap up with some conclusions, closing thoughts, and parent resources. What have we learned today? Prompts lead to a specific solution, while cues are less specific hints. We want to prompt for skills that your child hasn't developed yet. Be consistent in your use of prompts, and fade prompts as your child gets more independent. Do not prompt skills that your child is already independent with. Don't demand immediate responses from your child, and be sure to provide ample wait time. Don't prompt excessively, which involves giving directions too frequently and not giving your child ample time to think or to respond. If you're looking for supplemental resources, please refer to your child's teachers and therapists first. If you want to make visual supports on your own, you can use Google Images or Teachers Pay Teachers. To find free and simple visual supports, go to Google Images. Search for the image followed by the words visual or clip art. For example, stop sign visual or no running clip art, etc. Save and print your desired image. If you can't find something you're looking for on Google Images, you can do a search on teacherspayteachers.com. Search for visual supports that are filtered by grade level and price. I suggest looking for free resources. There are plenty of resources available at no cost to you. Ask your child's teacher or therapist for help finding specific visual supports for you to use at home. Thank you so much for your time. Do you have any questions or need suggestions? Contact your child's teachers or therapists, or reach out to the creators of this presentation below. I'm Amanda Gagnon, and I collaborated with Megan McCormick on this presentation. Our email addresses are provided on this slide. Thanks again!